Your move, your move.
What's up guys, it's Rogue here and welcome to another amazing video on the channel. For today I got you a updated Rescue Ace deck profile. So it is a fire deck, but it's not the tier 0 fire deck of the format. We are Rogue tier after all, but I still think Rescue Ace is in a very good spot this format, and I still think it's a really strong deck to play. It is also a lot cheaper than Snake Eyes Fire King, which I think is very important. But regardless of how expensive it is, if you do enjoy this content, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe down below. Also, please comment, do you like tier 0 formats? Because it looks like we're in one. And if you don't like it, why? So without any further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. Starting off with the main deck, we have double Rescue Ace Hydrant. He's still so crucial to this deck, and if you don't know what he does, he's essentially a rotor. He rotors for any Rescue Ace monster. He also has the effect that the turn you set a Rescue Ace spell or trap via a Rescue Ace effect, it can be used that turn. So absolutely insane. Really nice card. Also gives your spells and traps bonus effects just by being on the field. For another 2 of, we have double of the Rescue Ace Turbulence. Again, he's sort of the win condition. You're going to be summoning him, setting 4, and then from there, you're just going to be taking the game by storm, essentially. He also has a hidden effect that if a card that you control leaves by an opponent's card effect, you can pop 1 card on the field, which is pretty nice. And of course, he can summon himself by banishing 2 from the graveyard. For another sort of boss monster, we have double of the Rescue Ace Preventer. This card is so nice. He's an extender, he's disruption, he's recursion. He's so much in 1 card, it's just crazy. So he can summon himself by banishing a Rescue Ace card from the graveyard. Remember, the spells and traps, although they don't have Rescue Ace in the name, they do count as Rescue Ace cards because it has it in the text. And also, it is a Book of Moon if you control any other Rescue Ace, and that's Book of Moon every single turn on a quick effect, which is fantastic. And if he goes to the graveyard, he's going to be able to special summon one of your banished Rescue Ace monsters back to the field. So really nice card. I think 2 of each of these really important ones is perfectly fine, to be honest. You can recycle them very well, and you also play the field spell and you can put them back. For the one-offs, I still play the Rescue Ace Fire Engine, with, of course, the 1 Rescue Ace Impulse. Why am I playing this? Because we now have Airlifter at 1, and Impulse can summon your engine, which can then summon your Airlifter turn 0, and also can summon Airlifter from the graveyard as well. So you can get multiple Airlifters that way. Impulse is also another rotor target if you open the Airlifter. So I think playing at least 2 is fine. At least 2 targets for rotor is fine. And of course, if you go against the Pearly matchup, he can switch off Noir because his first effect affects the player, not the monsters. So that's really nice. And of course, the main man before the most recent ban list, we have Airlifter, sadly at 1 still. But if you can special summon your Rescue Ace Hydrant without committing the normal, you can search Airlifter and then normal summon him anyway. So it doesn't matter that he's at 1 in those scenarios. For the spells, we have Triple Emergency, just an absolutely insane card. I feel like this was the best card Rescue Ace could have wished for, and then some. It's an E-Telly, but also removing some of your monsters from the field or hand, which helps with dodging targeting effects. And also you can banish it during your main phase, and reset one of your traps. So it gives you that recursion as well. So even though you play 1 of each trap, and if you don't have access to the field spell, you can still banish this and reset them and use them again. We have the 1 Rescue and the 1 Alert. These again go hand in hand. We only play 1 of each because Turbulence is going to be able to set them directly from the deck. Monster Reborn, if you control Hydrant, you can Monster Reborn from your opponent's graveyard. And then Pick Up from Grave, if you control Hydrant, it's also another rotor on a quick play. So if you use Hydrant and you search and then they draw you, you can chain Alert to then add another monster again. We also have the 1 Field Spell. I feel like 1 of the Field Spell is more than enough. Would I cut it? Maybe put it to the side, but I think in the main it's a good place for it right now. Gives you 2 normal summons, which is insane. Gives all of your Rescue Ace monsters 500 attack and defense when your opponent controls a monster. And also the crucial part of the card, and the reason we play it, target 4 of your Rescue Ace cards that are banished or in the graveyard, shuffle them into the deck and draw a card. The reason this is so important is not because of the draw, but because then Turbulence can immediately reset the cards you put back into the deck. So since we only play one of each, it's the way of grind. It's a way that we keep our grind going. We have one Extinguish and one Contain. Both are amazing cards. Extinguish is a pop, but also if you control Hydrant, it's essentially that monster you pop is call buyed for the turn. So if it did have grave effects, it no longer has it. So against the Unchained cards, it's pretty good. And then Contain, not only does it negate effects, not only does it stop your opponent from attacking, if Hydrant is on the field at the resolution of these cards as well, you don't actually have to have a Hydrant when you activate. As long as it's on resolution, it's a no material as well. It cannot be used for anything to do with the extra deck. It can't be linked away, can't be fusion summoned, can't be synchroed, or can't be XYZ. So really, really cool. And that's pretty much wrapping up the Rescue Ace part of the deck. It's very concise. It's very figured out, I think, as well. I think the only thing you can change is if you play Impulse, Fire Engine. Some people like playing Fire Attacker. I don't really play that card, but it's, you know, I haven't really made much changes to that since I started playing Rescue Ace, to be honest. Moving on to the expensive part of the deck. I'm really sorry if you can't afford this. If you don't have access to this, would I recommend playing Rescue Ace? Probably not, sadly, because this just helps boost consistency or build Omni Negates so that you don't lose to blowout cards like Evenly Matched. So we have 2 the Yveltal the Black Witch, absolutely insane card. Special summons herself without starting a chain as well, which is fantastic. Can send cards from the hand or field, which is important. And then on summon is going to be able to set one of your Sinful Spoil cards from the deck to the field. So it can't even be ashed either. Pretty cool. We have the 1 Jet Synchron. I play him because I feel that games 2 and 3, you can easily lose to an Evenly Matched because you can't really interact with spells and traps within Engine of Rescue Ace. So I feel like you need the Jet Synchron. This is going to allow you to sort of make your Barone and your Savage Dragon. So you're going to do 2 Omni Negates. And that should be enough to deal with evenly matches. And then you have your Rescue spells and traps to deal with everything else that isn't evenly. So pretty nice. We, of course, have triple Wanted of the Sinful Spoils. This is just consistency. You wouldn't ever play anything less than 3, sadly. Really expensive as well, especially these QCRs. But even the normal secrets, I think, are like 70 or 80 pounds each. So ridiculous prices. But again, adds you the Yveltal from the deck or grave to the hand. And since it's quick play, you can draw it in the draw phase and you still can't get drawled. And if that effect wasn't good enough, you can banish this card, target one of your other Sinful cards, put him to the bottom deck, and draw a card. So, insane. And then, of course, we played the 1 original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye. This is your 1-for-1, but better in a way because you don't need to discard from hand. You can use face-up cards from the field. And if you summon your Jet Synchron or your Hydron off this, and then if it's in the graveyard, not the same turn, so it gives you a grind game if you leave it in there, you can banish it, and then you can add a level 1 fire from the deck to the hand, and then, of course, Wanted can put back from the grave or banish pile, put this back into the deck, and draw a card. So that is the Sinful package. Again, very figured out. Nothing really changes here. Some people just don't play Jet Synchron, which I guess I can understand because it is a little bit of a brick. However, I think it's very good to have it, and I don't think it's win more like some people say. I think it actually has a very important use. For the other engine, just triple Kashtira Fenrir. Thankfully, not too expensive. And the Rescue Ace cards all got reprinted as well, so the Rescue Ace stuff is quite affordable as well. It's just really the Sinful stuff, the Snake Eyes, not the Snake Eyes, the Wanteds and the original Sinful Spoils, which are a bit expensive. But if you can afford it and you can build this deck, I promise you guys you won't be disappointed. And if you don't like it, you can just change and play Fire King Snake Eyes instead. So once you have the Snake Eyes bit, you're good. So triple Fenrir, I was playing 2. I bumped it up when Elifta went to 1, basically, just to help with consistency. We also have triple Ash Blossom. This is a fire. We can recur fires, and it's just insane into a lot of matchups. Really good if you ash the Snake Eyes 1-for-1 spell. Really good ashing the Labyrinth traps as well. So just an insane card. And the fact it's fire means you can recycle it every single turn with Wolf. We have double Infinite Impermanence. Again, I really like this card because it's not a monster, meaning they cannot thrust or tactics you after you imperm them. It's also really good on the draw because it just deals with a negate or an interruption. It trades 1-for-1, which is really nice. It's also not once per turn. And the good thing about Ash and Imperm is that you can use them under Shifter as well. So amazing. And for the last 2 hand traps, I'm sort of testing these out. These could be drawn on Lockbird. I have double effect Veiler, and I think Veiler right now is very strong. I think targeted negation is very strong, although you have to be careful because Fire Kings can play around that. So just have that in mind. It also doesn't work through the shifter. For the power spells, we have double prosp. Why am I not playing 3? Because sometimes you just want to draw cards off the field spell or the wanted stuff, and we don't want to be drawing into prosps. But I feel like 2 prosp is good for consistency. We have the 1 rotor for consistency as well, so we're playing 2 Elifter with this. 1 call by the grave to hopefully stop D-shifters or impactful hand traps on key points of our combo. And then the 1 triple tactics talent, again, to either draw cards or sort of break your opponent's hand or board. Now moving on to the extra deck, we're going to start off with our Link 4s. We got 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. You don't make it as much anymore, but it's still very useful to have in those monster effect heavy decks. Basically, you have an Appa with 2 to 3 negates, and that sometimes helps weaken their combo. We have the 1 Access Code Talker. This helps for pushing for game. How do you make this, you may ask? Well, we also play the 1 Selene. So we play any Charmer into Selene. Selene can reborn either our Effect Veiler or the Abel Star. And then that can make our Access Code. And Access Code can clear some stuff and is 5/3. So that and a Turbulence is enough for game. Rounding off our Link 3s, 1 Promethean Princess. This card has been such a good addition for Rescue Ace. You cannot believe. Let me tell you why. If you have your SB and you summon Turbulence, normally what they do is they can wait for you to use the effect and try and hand trap you, which then in that situation you can use SP, dodge the hand trap, and successfully resolve Turb. However, I think good players, what they're going to do is they're going to imperm on summon of the Turbulence, and that means that you can't chain your SP because you'll simply remove Turbulence and there'll be no way of getting him back. So now in those cases, you link off your SP and the Turbulence into Promethean Princess, and Promethean Princess's effect lets you reborn a fire monster from the graveyard. You can then simply reborn your Turbulence, use the effect, and then link off Promethean Princess and Turbulence into your Sunlight Wolf. That means that then during your opponent's turn, you can summon into one of Sunlight Wolf's zones and grab back another fire, while also having your Promethean Princess as a disruption as well. So absolutely insane card, ridiculous, and 100% worth whatever it is, price-wise, Ultra or QCR. We also have the 1 Sunlight Wolf. As I said, if you have an Ash in your hand, you can simply discard it, and then you can loop Ash every single turn, which against a deck like Labyrinth is pretty impactful. We have the 1 SP Little Knight, sort of mentioned before. This card is crucial. Again, if they want to hand trap you on Turbulence effect, it sort of forces them to do it on summon, because if not, you're gonna be able to dodge it with SP Little Knight, and it's just one hell of a card as well. We have the 1 IP Masquerena. I'm breaking up the QCR and Starlight theme, so I do apologize. I do need to pick up one of these. They're just kind of expensive right now, the Starlights, so I gotta save up a bit and hopefully you can pick one up. But again, IP threatening SP in your opponent's turn. If you don't know, SP on summon has a banish effect if made by a Link or extra deck monster, which is really nice. So you get sort of 2 banishes during opponent's turn, 1 from its on summon effect and 1 from its actual effect in response to an opponent's card effect. And the SP means it cannot be destroyed by card effects. I wish it did by battle. That would be a lot cooler for the SP. Usually SP gets ran over a lot, which is kind of sad. But again, forces them to waste a battle phase and you don't die and you can go again. So IP, we also play 1 Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. What I like about Hydrant, or in this case Jet Synchron as well, is that they are fires, so they allow you to make your heater if need be. If not, you can turn them into a Link Karibo, and Link Karibo's Dark, so your Hydrant can act as both fodder for your Dark or heater, as well as a Jet Synchron as well. And of course, you can just take any Dark and then make Selene and then Selene Reborn and go Access Code. So these Charmers are really good. We also play the 1 Heater. Heater in a fire-dominant format is insane. We're going to be taking a bunch of stuff. We're going to be taking Flamberge Dragons. We're going to be taking Populuses. We're going to be taking a bunch of nice things. And Heater is the girl for it. I really want her Starlight Rare. I think it looks absolutely insane. We have our Nightmare Phoenix. Was debating cutting this card. Have it still in because if you've gone through the Wolf and you have Promethean Princess, you are fire locked. So you do need to find a way of getting her back in the grave. And Nightmare Phoenix is a fire and allows you to deal with a spell or trap that's set at the same time. We also have a Relinquished Anima. I think this is the card I might cut because this allows me to play a in time card in the extra deck. So if we ever do go to time, I won't sort of have to rely on my side deck. I'll have a way of doing it through the extra deck. But I think Anima punishes the players that aren't cautious with their zones, but I don't know if that's reason enough to play it. Because we also play the 1 Link Rebo. And Link Rebo's a staple as your Link 1. Hydrant's a Link 1. Your Jet Synchron's a level 1, sorry, not Link 1. And why Link Rebo's so good? Because once it's in the grave, you can quick effect tribute things off the field to summon it. That helps dodge targeting and also helps protect your SP in battle. So, crazy card. We have the 1 Baron de Fleur. You make this with a Turbulence and a Jet Synchron, because level 9 Turb, level 1 Jet Synchron, you make your Baron. And we all know what Baron does. It's a Omni Negate once while it's on the field, and it can pop a card during your turn, every single turn. And of course, during the standby, it can put itself back into extra deck and special something else. You can reborn like a Fenrir if it's there or whatever. We have a Borrowload Savage Dragon. You make this with either Diabellstar and Jet Synchron, or your Fire Engine and Jet Synchron. This can help make your Savage Dragon, and it usually equips a Link Rebo, but if you have anything bigger, you'll get more Omni Negates from it, and it'll be bigger in attack. And for the last monster, we have 1 Superstar Slayer Typhon. Comes up a lot, and again, I think when you're making this card, you're not in the best position, but sometimes you're in a position where making this card, bouncing something and attacking over the other thing is enough, and that helps you live and sort of get into that grind game as well. So I think Star Slayer is essential still in the extra deck. Let's now move on to the side deck. For our winning time, we have a Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. How do we make this? Instead of making Savage, we would make him in time. Problem is, it is relying on us drawing the Wanted engine, or else we can't sort of access our winning time. So maybe this should be something else. I was thinking maybe Sprite Sprint and playing the Volcanic Scattershot, but that requires 2 extra deck spots, 2 side deck spots. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that instead of just playing the 1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. We have triple Nibiru. Nibiru, again, is pretty good this format. I feel like it's a lot of decks can play through it now, but what it does is it makes the end board so much weaker that it makes it playable. You can play through it. We have Hand Trap, probably, apart from Shifter of the format, probably drawn on Lockbird. I say Hand Trap of the format apart from Shifter. I think Shifter is infinitely better. And some decks either get blown out by this card, or some decks just don't care at all. So it is a bit of a gamble. And obviously, if your opponent opens Shifter and uses it, you can't use Droll, because it needs to go to the graveyard, which is very annoying as well. And stuff like Flu, hard lose to Droll, but if they open Shifter, they sort of counter your counter, if that makes sense. Spell and Trap removal, triple Cosmic Cyclone. I think not playing Spell and Trap removal is silly, because you never know when you're going to go against a back row matchup. It's also kind of good if you hit Island. And, you know, you can also hit things like IP if they place it, I guess, if it counts as... I'm not sure if it counts as a Spell and Trap. If it does, you can target it, but maybe it doesn't. So maybe that is irrelevant. But you can hit random things like Island and blow up their board. And, you know, they'll still be able to recover from it. But again, it's just about weakening the board before you commit your actual stuff. That's sort of the aim of the game. We have double, triple Tactics Thrust. We play Tactics in the main. This can also help pick up our Rota as well, or our Harpy's Feather Duster, which I'm hoping to pick up an ulti of, because this will look a really nice set. So Thrust, again, multiple purpose, Rota, Talents, Feather Duster. And then for the last 2 cards, I have double Solemn Strike. I'm sort of testing this card. It's really good into if you hit Snake Eyes Ash on normal or special and they use the effect, you strike it. It's really, really good because it removes the monster as well. Unlike Imperm or Ash, they'll still have the monster, so without the Snake Eye stuff, they could send 2 still. And of course, if they commit into a big extra deck play and you just strike the summon, that also feels really, really nice as well. So that is the end of the deck profile, guys. Do let me know, again, as I said in the comments, what deck are you playing this format? What do you think of this deck profile? What do you think about the in-time burn? I think maybe Sprite Sprint into Volcanic Scattershot could be better. But do let me know what you think of the Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. So I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.
It's time to